People really want to use Ethereum still. They want to participate in the trading of cryptocurrencies, the minting, buying, and trading of those dang JPEG NFTs. But many can't, as its high fees are not easing up one bit. Day after day, month after month, they have been rising. So what is a regular person to do? We'll find out in about 10 minutes, give or take a few, because it's time for Chico Crypto. Yeah, those Ethereum gas fees are rising. They were sitting around 20 GUI in June, but just a few months later, they have exploded by 600%, 6xing up to 120 GUI. If you don't understand GUI, let's just look at the translated into USD version and the cost for different DeFi actions on Ethereum. Swaps are between $100 to $180. Supplying liquidity is between $120 to over $300. And removing liquidity is between $107 to $167. Now, unless you're making a trade in the tens of thousands of dollars or adding or removing huge amounts of liquidity, it's not worth it to transact on the Ethereum mainnet. So, what can be done about this? How can you still be involved with DeFi and the crypto markets without paying buku bucks on gas? Well, you really have two options. You can try Ethereum Layer 2, or you can use a separate chain. And that is exactly what we are going to cover today. A production and user-ready Ethereum Layer 2 and separate chains who are promoting themselves as EVM compatible. Which is the best? Who is the most ready? So Ethereum Layer 2, production and user ready. Who could that be? Well, of course, it's Arbitrum and the Arbitrum 1 rollup. Last week I predicted that the user mainnet would be open by the end of the month. And that was true, as they opened the mainnet to the public yesterday, August 31st. Thus, applications were ready to start being utilized on the rollup. The Swapping and Liquidity Protocol Balancer announced they were live on day one, and switching over to Arbitrum on Balancer is as easy as clicking the network in the top left corner and choosing Arbitrum. But things are going to get even more interesting for Ethereum Layer 2 very soon. A Lido Cohen on Twitter tweeted, "Watch this and tell me you're not bullish on ETH. Polygon to Optimism in 2 minutes and a 10-cent transaction cost. New users won't even need to ever touch Ethereum mainnet anymore. Arbitrum next," with a video of the HOP protocol allowing this transfer between L2s. This is big for the world of Ethereum L2s, as the gas fees for Ethereum on the L1 mainnet aren't going down in the short to mid term. Now users won't even have to deal with them, being able to hop from L2 to L2 in a cheap and efficient manner. But now let's talk about those other chains that aren't using Ethereum to secure their mainnet. There are more than a few out there, but we're going to talk about the ones on the top of some people's minds: Cardano, Polkadot, and Kusama. So let's begin with Cardano, as supposedly they are not delaying any longer. In less than 2 weeks, September 12th, smart contracts are coming. The Alonzo hard fork will take place on the mainnet, and people are really getting pumped as they think Cardano is going to steal a lot of thunder from Ethereum. But in my opinion, this one is a buy the rumor, sell the news. People have already been buying the rumor. Since the beginning of August, the price has exploded from $1.31 to, as of yesterday, $2.79. Just a 112% rally in a month. Although there may be one more run-up of the Cardano price before September 12th, getting it back to close to the $3 level, maybe a little higher. But on the day, September 12th, I believe Cardano will dump, as what's getting launched is not what people expect. People are expecting, yes, of course, the smart contracts, but also Ethereum compatibility. And yeah, smart contracts, they are coming, although in a language developers aren't used to, and in a super basic form. But Ethereum compatibility, that isn't coming September 12th. So what is coming September 12th? Well, according to the Cardano Plutus roadmap, with the Alonzo hard fork, Plutus smart contracts will be implemented. Now, as we can see from Cardano documentation on Plutus, it says the Plutus platform is the smart contract platform of the Cardano blockchain. Plutus contracts consist of pieces that run on the blockchain on-chain code and pieces that run on a user's machine, off-chain or client code. Both on-chain and off-chain code is written in Haskell, and Plutus smart contracts are Haskell programs. This means you have to code the contracts with Haskell. Any Ethereum or smart contract developer isn't going to rewrite all of their dApp smart contracts into an obscure language that is extremely tough to learn. What do I mean? Well, Haskell is a language that isn't only for smart contracts and blockchain like Solidity from Ethereum is. It's used out in the normal programming world. And as of 2020, it's ranked last, dropping in popularity each year since 2012. People don't like developing with Haskell. That isn't any new news. And that's even showing its face in the Cardano forums. A person posted a thread titled Understanding Plutus, forced to learn Haskell from scratch or wait for the KEVM. And they said, it is very hard for them to follow the Plutus code, unlike Solidity. And many people agree with the poster. Plutus and Haskell is tough to learn. So don't think for a second Ethereum projects and their developers will want to learn Haskell. They won't. Although many people will say, what about the ERC20 converter? That is going to allow Ethereum projects to convert over to Cardano, and it's getting its launch too. Yeah, the ERC20 converter is coming to the testnet next week. It's being launched alongside the Plutus smart contracts on the mainnet. But this isn't a full-on converter that will convert everything like many think. This is just a bridge for tokens. Smart contracts are not going to be converted through this. From a post on the Cardano subreddit about the ERC20 converter usefulness and security, a person commented, contracts aren't being converted. Contracts will need to be rewritten in Plutus or executed on an EVM, which I believe Cardano is building as a sidechain. So the ERC20 converter out the gate will not see much use, as many popular applications on Ethereum don't have plans to develop with Haskell. Thus, there won't be any well-known DeFi applications ready to launch on Cardano where you can use the converted tokens. Cardano needs EVM compatibility, which will come in the form of a sidechain, and that isn't going to be ready September 12th. Although some other chains are ready to host Ethereum dApps and beyond, and that comes from the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem, a certain parachain which we will get into in a second. But first, the sponsor for this video, Can2 Energy, and like always, the full details of our agreement can be found in the description. Yeah, Energy has been building with Ethereum compatibility in mind since the beginning, and they recently went live with their Energy Bridge, currently supporting all the assets on Ethereum, with plans to include other chains in the near future. It's a super easy to use experience and will be familiar with the MetaMask integration. You can even use your same ETH wallet address. This bridge is huge news as it will help accelerate the adoption of their DEX Energy Swap, which is a so familiar experience if you're used to something like Uniswap. On the DEX, people are already enjoying an unrivaled trading experience through Energy's top-level customer support system, vast selection of tokens and assets on the chains, and industry-leading protection against scammers, hackers, and other nefarious actors within the space. Sure, other chains like Polygon, BSC, and Avalanche can claim cheap fees and lightning-fast transactions, but that's old news. Energy Swap transactions cost less than a penny, but they also include additional benefits that these other projects are simply not equipped to provide. Like 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week customer support for any issue. And most importantly, their industry-leading user protections, like their in-house cybersecurity expert team, Energy Defense, and the Energy Bureau of Investigations that actively protect users' funds and monitor the energy infrastructure. So let's face it, having a large market cap and heavy trading volume does not mean a platform is secure. Take a look at BSC, which regularly falls victim to flash loans and other attacks. And more recently, giants like Poly Network just went through the largest hack in history, where over $600 million was taken. If Energy was faced with a hack like that of Poly Network, they could freeze the attacker's assets within the 3.5-day withdrawal window, effectively disabling the scammer's funds and essentially eliminating the possibility of a crime on Energy. No other blockchain, no other DEX can provide that level of customer protection and peace of mind. And to help you get ahead of the curve, let's equip you with a quick walkthrough on how to get set up with Energy and how to make a trade on Energy Swap. First thing you'll need to do is add the Energy mainnet to your MetaMask, and this couldn't be easier. Click the link found in the description, and when the page opens, simply click the green Configure Now button, then confirm in your MetaMask. To bridge your funds to the Energy blockchain, we'll use their newly launched Energy Bridge. Simply connect your MetaMask while on the Ethereum mainnet. Enter the amount of ETH or other approved token you want to bridge. Click Transfer, confirm in your MetaMask, and then after a small wait, your funds will be ready to use. Now that we have some ETH on the Energy mainnet, we can use the Energy Swap DEX, and this will feel like using Uniswap minus those expensive fees. Simply choose the tokens you want to swap from the list of 180 tokens and growing, and here we're going to take our newly bridged ETH and pick up some NRG, and we'll conduct our trade like normal. It's that simple. So, users looking for a familiar DeFi experience, which is safe and friendly, the Energy ecosystem and the Energy Swap DEX is a solid pick. Word on the street is they will soon be launching a juicy liquidity farming program, along with another innovation, a decentralized referral program. So if any of that piques your interest, make sure to stay tuned. All links for Energy are below. Now back to Polkadot, Kusama, and a certain parachain, which is going to allow EVM compatibility on these networks in a big way. It's ready to go, and porting over contracts to the parachain will be simple for Ethereum developers. So let's dive right in. If you didn't know, Polkadot and Kusama were built for Ethereum compatibility, unlike Cardano. Even as far back as October of 2019, Gavin Wood, the founder of Polkadot, has written blogs about the synergies between the two and how they would interoperate with each other. One of the major pieces was called the Substrate EVM, and the blog post from Gavin said this about it. This is a Substrate SRML module that introduces an Ethereum-compatible execution environment natively into Substrate. Essentially, this allows your Substrate chain to host the vast majority of the Ethereum state transition functions. Existing Solidity EVM code can be deployed into this environment. Now, since October of 2019 in that blog, this compatibility layer has been given an official name. It's now called Frontier, and the documentation is written and live, meaning this is basically ready to go. Who built Frontier? Well, of course Gavin and the Polkadot Kusama teams, but also a certain parachain, Moonbeam. June of 2020, they put out a blog, and in it said, after we announced our project, Parity reached out to us to let us know about Frontier, a project that they are working on to build upon the EVM palette and provide improved Substrate Ethereum support. We have agreed to join forces with Parity and work together on the same repo rather than pursuing independent efforts. And Shiznit's about to get real regarding deployment on Moonbeam.
Donnie Big Bags!
Donnie Big Bags tweeting about Sushi getting ready to deploy, with screen grabs of Sushi team members confirming it's going to happen soon. But it's not only Sushi, it's a whole heck of a lot more. Mr. Big Bags also tweeted, next week the team will begin announcing projects and bridges going live. These create liquidity pools and force increased mover demand. Also 10% of supply reserved for liquidity bootstrapping, incentivizing DeFi with liquidity rewards. And he provides the proof of the team saying the dApps and bridges are coming. And Donnie projects bridges to ETH, BSC, Solana, and Polygon. And the dApps projected include, of course, Sushi, but also Balancer, Karua, and Dodo. So all I have to say about this is Cardano will not be getting deployments like that out the gate. Moonriver, Kusama, and Polkadot have been building with the EVM in mind, and Cardano hasn't. Building with the EVM in mind is the winning strategy. Cheers, I'll see you next time.